Avengers, a symbol. Welcome back to Sanders Presents. I'm Greg, and if you're enjoying the content we're producing, please consider following that link in the description below to become an Avenger today by joining our Patreon. We have two tiers available, a $3 tier and a $5 tier. At that $5 tier, you become an Avenger Premium member, and as a founding Avenger, you will make it onto our Avenger Memorial Hall of Fame. We have Fairy Cake, Ed, One Shot, One Kill, Treasure Valentine, and Fishy, and I want to thank them for being Avenger Premium members, and I want to thank all of my Avengers for supporting us here at Sanders Presents. Thank you so much. So, let's get into this topic. So it comes up a lot. I get asked about it a lot. It's a weird angle to approach, but I thought, hey, right now there isn't a 2022 official roadmap. We have our roadmap predictions. It is what it is, and we could talk about those, and we can have a conversation about that, but it always comes up. You talk about Marvel's Avengers, and you get told it's being canceled, Mac. Every time. Really, every time. What's interesting is you can source it, and we have sources. Literally, Crystal Dynamics themselves have told us we have content coming in 2022. We have plans for 2022. Now, that is not baseless. That is a direct source. It's the developer of the game. Now, is it true that they can have plans for 2022 and, oh, hey, Crystal Dynamics, yeah, you're canceled. Okay. And that's it. That's just kind of how it goes. If a license is pulled, you can't really do anything, Mac, which is fine. But that's not really a case for conversation. No one can foresee that unless you're Emperor Palpatine. And if you are Emperor Palpatine, call me. As it is, bear with me here. If Crystal Dynamics, the developer, is working on content for 2022, and they tell us we're working on content in 2022, then it's not baseless, and they're working on 2022 content, right? But, and this is what's funny to me. This is funny to me. I apologize. But if you go, and again, this is the clickbait society we live in. We know we live in it. We might as well confront it and talk about it when everybody wants to talk about it. But we live in a clickbait society. All you got to do is look at the last few years, Mac. But we live in a clickbait society. And people love their anonymous reports that are really like negative and really grouchy. So, you have a situation where Crystal Dynamics has come out and said, hey, 2022, we're working on the roadmap now. We're excited to talk about it. We plan to talk about it before the end of the 2021 year. So there you go. And that's literally from them. But then you get 4chan. And we all know that. And that's a despicable place. I don't allow links to it in the Discord. We don't talk about 4chan. But again, I keep getting asked, so I'm only going to bring it up here. But it is not a source. It is not cited. It cannot be referenced. And it is clickbait, pure and simple. But if you go on 4chan and you see an anonymous report from, again, someone anonymously posting that Avengers is canceled, Mac. Spider-Man was the last thing you'll get. That's it. It's over. And see the people who believe that. Now, again, that's looking for a confirmation bias. That's looking to fill your own bias. If you're going to take an anonymous report from an incredibly questionable, volatile site over a developer just actually flat out saying, Mac, we've got 2022 content. We're working on it. Come on now. You can't reconcile that without admitting you have a bias. And you have a bias for one of two reasons. You're either a content creator who knows that the clickbait will feed it. Because again, you put out negative Avengers content, you put out negative content, period, it overwhelmingly gets more views. It just does. And it's simple business. I get it. I get it. I know. People got to make money. You got to make a living. That's fine. And you choose how that's it. And that's fine. But it is baseless. It has no basis in fact. It's literally something anybody can come out and say anonymously. It's like if I thought it would be a fun experiment to go onto 4chan, make an account, and anonymously post that Avengers was getting canceled to prove a point that there is a confirmation bias. I wouldn't do that, though. I wouldn't do that. But it's an example. So in that case, bear with me. Why is what the developer themselves say not taken as fact, but an anonymous post on a questionable site without any sources, like not verified identity, nothing? How is that how does that have a basis in fact? It doesn't. It continues to show the strange relationship between a minority, because it's always a minority, and it's just an aggressive and loud one, but it's a minority fan base who is soured on it, and again, they want their bias. You know, whether they hated the game and never bought it, whether they thought it looked like crap and never bought it, and they keep touting around, oh, it's done, it's finished after Spider-Man, it's finished after this, it's, you know, whatever. And then the people who also said, you're never getting Spider-Man. Well, I mean, come on. How many times? I mean, like, you got to own up to it at some point. You have to own up to it. You do. You can't go around saying we're not getting Spider-Man, then we get Spider-Man, and then go silent. You know. Takes a man to apologize. Right? And again, at the end of the day, we're talking about video games. That's it. We're talking about video games developers, corporations, creative leads, people who make so much money they don't know what to do with, and so they buy a lot of hookers. But it's harming the average employee, right? I don't care about the leads and the executives. I don't. I have no dog in that fight. You want to go after billionaires, go after billionaires. Again, absolutely. You know, mock them, do whatever. I don't care. I have no sympathy for billionaires. But when you go after the employees who are, you know, doing their job, to me, you're not solving an argument. You just look like a lunatic. And I don't think that solves anything either. You know, if you only run clickbait, if you're only interested as a consumer in clickbait, you're never going to add to the conversation, because it is nothing but a pure echo chamber. If you have an excitement and passion about something, and you have constructive criticism to share, and you have ideas, then I think that has a positive outcome and an overall net positive outcome. Because you have to ask yourself what you want your lasting impression to be. And I say this to, and I don't just say this to consumers. I say this to, again, friends and numerous people who, you know who you are. You reach out, and I'm happy to have these conversations, but you reach out and you ask, you know, about, and because again, I'm not any kind of professional in this, but I've been asked about starting a YouTube channel. How do I start one? You know, how do I approach it? You know, what's a good topic? Do you do scripts? Why do you cover what you cover and how you cover it? The fact of the matter is, you have to ask yourself about your own lasting impressions. Do you really want to leave people walking away from you feeling angry and enraged? You know what I mean? Is that the lasting impression you want to have? Do you want, bear with me here and be honest, do you want your lasting impression and your legacy in life to be a video on YouTube where you're throwing a fit about Brie Larson? Because again, let's bring it back to just, again, this is all Marvel. Do you want that? Is that your lasting impression and legacy? If you were to die and you got a video up before you died, and that's your legacy. And again, I know that we are often called juvenile and goofy and immature here, but that's just me. That's kind of the atmosphere I create. At the end of the day, if we can have fun, if you can have a good time, and if we can have a conversation and you can add to the conversation in the comments, then we're doing something right, because the developers are listening. And if the game is shut down, you know what? Hey, if the plug is pulled, canceled, whatever metaphor you want to use, so be it. But we added to the conversation. We didn't take away from it. You know, we came in as fans and we said, listen, there's parts of this that work really well. There's parts of this that really don't work, though. We got to get these things that don't work working. Because I want to play as Ant-Man, Mac. That's it. I want to play as Ant-Man. You don't give me Ant-Man in this game, and this game shuts down, you're going to see me in that corner over there crying, Mac. I mean, that's just it. So do I want the game to be successful? Yes. How do we make it successful? By, as a community, reacting to the developers rationally, constructively, and building a conversation out from there. Okay? Covering baseless topics, it's not for me. It's not for me. I'm not going to report every single week on, what's a joke here? The weekly, is Avengers dead yet? You know what I mean? The Avengers life support. Yeah, I mean, like, come on. That's not fun. That's not entertaining, and it has no basis, in fact. We have literal statements from Crystal Dynamics. We'll follow those. We have a data mine trail that shows that they have things at various stages. Could the plug be pulled at any minute? Sure, that's fine. The sky is always falling. We could die at any second. That's just real life. Not only could a game get shut down, you might not live to see it. So what do you want your lasting impression to be? You know what I mean? Because sometimes this isn't just about a game. You got to have fun with a game. It's a video game. You have fun, or you move on. If you don't like it, you move on. I mean, for $10, I mean, I have to be honest. For $10, Avengers is worth it. It really is for $10. Like, 100% Avengers is worth it for $10. And I mean, like, it's dirt cheap. It's worth it for that. It just flat out is. Because it's not that bad. I mean, to even say it's not worth $10, that's disingenuous. It's worth $10. For that versus the content you're getting, the heroes that are available, again, the 2022 heroes that are coming, and again, there's all again, devil's advocate, I could get canceled, but still, that could happen to anything. Right now, we have word from a developer, and that's it. There's nothing else because we have the developer. As far as the developer is concerned, they're working on new 2022 content. They're actively producing it. And they said that they were doing their best to give us a roadmap by the end of the year. That's where we are right now. By the time this video goes up, we could have all those things. Yeah, honestly, we could. If we do, then this is completely out of date. But I still think it adds to the conversation because I still think it's interesting. I still think the response to anything that's said is Avengers is dying. Avengers is on life support. It's not getting any support after Spider-Man. It's not getting any... I mean, or if you want to go through history, War for Wakanda comes out. Oh, Spider-Man's not coming. You're never getting Spider-Man because it's over after War for Wakanda. Oh, Spider-Man came out? You're not getting anything after Spider-Man. That goalpost keeps moving. That's just it. It keeps getting pushed further and further. And if there's another hero... again, if you want to say but if there's another hero, that hero is going to be the last one. The sky is always going to be falling. No game lasts forever. Eventually, Avengers will come to an end. It's a live service game. It's not going to last forever. It will come to an end at some point. At some point, those people saying it's over after this will technically be right. That doesn't mean they're right for the reasons that they continue to say, though. And that's where we have to draw the line in terms of clickbait and in terms of baseless, empty statements that mean absolutely nothing. And also, it's not interesting to me. I'd rather have a good time. And again, I hope you had a good time, too. Your mom did. Oh! Anyway, I apologize. That was too easy. That's what she said. To my Avengers and to my patrons, thank you so much for your support and for making this content possible. If you're able, please consider following that link in the description below to become an Avenger today by joining our Patreon. And to everyone, thank you so much for being a part of this conversation and for supporting us here at Sanders Presents. Please consider liking the video before you leave, subscribing to the channel, and sharing this content on your favorite social media platform. It all helps immensely with YouTube's analytics and algorithms. Basically, when you watch something, and as you're watching a video of ours, you like it, and then you've subscribed or you've shared it, YouTube goes, hey, the audience is liking this video. So we, that being YouTube chooses to share it with more strangers across the world. So we do appreciate it. Above all else and most importantly, stay safe, take care of others, and have a marvelous day. Bye, everyone.